The diner smelled like hot oil and burned coffee, the kind of place that tried hard to feel friendly, but never quite managed it. Vinyl booze cracked with age, chrome dulled by fingerprints and time. At the counter, a girl sat alone, hands folded around a mug she hadn't touched. Her name was Lily. She was 17, small for her age, with a brace on her right leg and fingers that trembled when she grew nervous. A disability wasn't something you could miss. It shaped the way she walked, the way she spoke, the way people looked at her before deciding who she was. She'd come to the diner every Thursday after her physical therapy appointment. Same booth, same mug, same slice of pie if she could afford it. It was her reward for getting through a day that always hurt more than she let on. That afternoon, the bell above the door rang, and three girls walked in laughing too loudly. They were all sharp edges and confidence, jackets tossed over shoulders, eyes scanning the room like it belonged to them. One of them noticed Lily immediately. "Hey," she said, stopping short. "Look at this." The others followed her gaze. Smirks bloomed. Lily felt it before she heard it. That familiar tightening in her chest. She stared down into her mug, willing herself to be invisible. "What's wrong with her leg?" One girl whispered, not quietly enough. Another snorted, probably faking it for attention. They slid into the booth behind her. Too close. Lily could feel their presence like heat on her back. "Hey," the first girl said again, tapping Lily's shoulder. "Can you even hear me?" Lily flinched. Slowly, she turned. "Yes," she said softly. The girl leaned closer. "Then why do you talk like that?" The word stung, but Lily had learned to endure. She tried to turn away. That's when it happened. A sharp smack landed across her cheek, sudden and loud. The diner froze. The sound echoed off the walls, louder than the jukebox, louder than the clatter of plates. Lily gasped. Pain flared, hot and shocking. Her glasses slid crooked on her face. One of the girls laughed. "Oh my God, did you see her face?" Another slapped her arm. "Do it again." Before Lily could react, another hand struck her shoulder, then her arm. Not hard enough to leave bruises right away, but enough to humiliate. Enough to make her eyes fill with tears she hated herself for shedding. "Stop," Lily whispered. The waitress behind the counter hesitated, eyes darting. A man in the corner looked away. Someone muttered something under their breath, but didn't stand up. The girl stood, satisfied, tossing a few coins on the table like a cruel joke. Next time, one of them said, "Sit somewhere else." They walked out laughing, the bell jingling cheerfully behind them. Lily stayed where she was, hands shaking, face burning. She wiped at her cheek and tasted salt. Her pie arrived untouched, the waitress setting it down without meeting her eyes. "I'm sorry," the woman murmured. "Teenagers." Lily nodded, even though nothing about it felt okay. She sat there for nearly an hour after, staring at the melted ice cream on her plate, wondering why the world always seemed to ask her to be smaller than she already was. Then the bell rang again. The door opened, and the noise of the diner changed. Boots hit the floor, heavy and deliberate. Leather creaked. Voices dropped. One by one, heads turned. 5 bikers walked in. They were big men, broad-shouldered, tattooed, wearing worn jackets stitched with patches that spoke of miles traveled and years survived. Beards, scars, eyes that had seen more than most people cared to imagine. They didn't laugh. They didn't shout. They took up space without trying. Lily shrank back instinctively, heart pounding. She'd learned to be afraid of anyone who looked powerful. One of the bikers noticed her. He stopped. His gaze moved from her red cheek to her trembling hands to the untouched pie. Something in his expression changed. Not anger, not yet, but focus. He turned to the waitress. "What happened to her?" The waitress swallowed. "Nothing. Just kids being kids." The biker didn't look convinced. He stepped closer to Lily, crouching slightly so he wasn't towering over her. "Did someone hurt you?" he asked, voice low, careful. Lily hesitated. Then she nodded. He straightened slowly. "All right," he said. "Thanks for telling me." He walked back to his group. They didn't need details. One look was enough. An hour earlier, Lily had been slapped and forgotten. Now, something else had arrived, and the diner felt very, very small. The bikers didn't rush. That was the most unsettling part. They took a booth near Lily back straight, movements calm. One of them ordered coffee for the table. Another slid Lily's untouched pie toward himself, examined it, then pushed it back gently. "You gonna eat that?" he asked her, not unkindly. Lily shook her head. "That's okay," he said. "Just checking." The waitress brought the coffee with shaking hands. No one joked now. No one looked away. Every person in the diner knew something was happening, even if they didn't yet understand what. The man who had spoken to Lily leaned back, folding his arms. His jacket patch read Road Saints. His name, stitched above it, said Marcus. "Where'd they go?" he asked the room. Silence. Marcus waited. A man near the window cleared his throat. "High school's 2 blocks down. They hang out at the park sometimes." Marcus nodded. "Appreciate it." He stood, and the others followed. Lily's heart raced. She didn't know what scared her more, the memory of being slapped or the idea of what these men might do next. Marcus paused beside her booth. "You okay if we step out for a bit?" he asked. She didn't know how to answer. She nodded anyway. "Good," he said. "We'll be back." The bell jingled as they left. The diner exhaled all at once. Whispers broke out like cracks in glass. "They gonna hurt those girls?" someone murmured. "Someone should have called the police," another said. "Far too late." Lily stared at the door, stomach twisting with guilt she didn't deserve. She hadn't asked for help. She hadn't asked for revenge. She just hadn't wanted to be alone. 20 minutes later, the bell rang again. The bikers returned. They looked the same as before, calm, steady, but something had shifted. Their eyes were colder now, not violent, but final, like men who had drawn a line and watched others cross it. Marcus walked straight to Lily's booth. "You won't see them bothering you again," he said. Her breath caught. What did you do?" He considered her for a moment. "We talked." She searched his face, tried to read between the lines. "Talking can be loud," he added, "but it doesn't have to leave marks." One of the other bikers set something on the table. A folded napkin. Lily opened it slowly. Inside was her pair of glasses. The frame had been bent when she'd been hit. Now it was straightened, cleaned, lenses wiped clear. "They dropped those," the biker said. "Figured you'd want him back." Tears welled in Lily's eyes, this time hot and uncontrollable. "Thank you," she whispered. Marcus pulled out the opposite bench and sat across from her, ignoring the stares. "Listen," he said. "The world's full of folks who confuse quiet with weakness. That's their mistake, not yours." She nodded, wiping her cheeks. "You didn't deserve what happened," he continued. "And you don't owe anyone silence about it, either." The waitress approached cautiously. "Pie's on the house," she said, sliding a fresh slice in front of Lily. "And I'm sorry I didn't step in." Lily looked at the plate, then back at Marcus. "I don't want them hurt," she said suddenly. "I just wanted them to stop." Marcus smiled faintly. They did. The bikers finished their coffee, paid in cash, and stood to leave. Before walking out, Marcus turned back. "You come here every Thursday?" he asked. "Yes." "So do we now," he said. Different booth. Same time. The bell rang behind them, softer than before. Lily sat there for a long time after, eating her pie slowly. The diner felt different now. Not safer because of fear, but safer because someone had finally seen her and decided she mattered. Outside, engines rumbled to life and faded into the distance. An hour earlier, Lily had been slapped and ignored. Now, she walked out of the diner with her head a little higher, knowing that sometimes justice didn't come wearing a badge. Sometimes it came wearing leather, patience, and the simple courage to say, "Enough